Hey y'all, welcome back to the lab. In this video, we're going to be discussing how to create portable AI skills across harnesses. Things like Claude Code, Codex, Open Code, Pi, Gemini CLI, etc., etc. So agentic engineering is the future, but it's still unclear which harness will win, if any, or really if any of these AI tools or even models that we're using today are going to be useful in 6 to 12 months. And so what I've been doing is hedging my bets by moving to a harness agnostic system for AI skills so that no matter the harness I use, I can still leverage the skills I've developed. I'm often thinking of skills these days as more of SOPs or like standard operating procedures. In some ways, they're like little scripts, right? Like you're writing little programs that you want something to follow. It just happens to be that you're writing this in Markdown and providing like templates and stuff for it to do this in. And so similarly to like the way that we do code, where we have like libraries and, personal snippets that you've probably saved off over the years, I think these skills are going to be what's durable as everything else around it changes. And so the basic idea of the layout is that we're going to have a core, and the core is going to be what is most agnostic to most things. And right now that is having an agents MD. If you're coming from Claude, it's similar to the Claude MD, but it's an agents MD. It's giving its like core context for your project or whatever it is that you're trying to do. And then we're going to use agent/skills folder with all of the skills in there that you want it to be able to pick up and load into context when it thinks that it's useful for it. And this is the main thing that you're going to be using. And then what we're going to also have is what I'm calling the shell. And so this is going to be for those harnesses that don't play by those rules, that don't abide by those standards. And we're going to basically have these things either symlinked or imported, as we'll talk about in a minute, to the core. And so the core can remain your source of truth for all those instructions, those skills, those rules. But any extra harness that comes on is just an N+1 additional thing to add that can just point to those. So everyone uses the same source. And so essentially this allows us that one source of truth for those skills, for those rules, for those instructions with first class support by any harness, so that no matter which one wins or which one you prefer, you can take your instructions with, because again, I think these instructions are really what's going to be durable long term. And so just to give you an idea of like who supports what, agents.md is the most supported really by most harnesses. You got Codex, Cursor, Open Code, I believe Pi also supports this, and then a bunch of others. There's like a long tail of harnesses. They all support this. So that's why this is the core. And then of course, Claude Code's got its Claude specific ones. Gemini has some specific ones. There's others out there that have their specific ones. So we can hit like 80% of them by just using agents MD. So here's an example of what this looks like. If you have an AI Dotfiles, which is what I've started to call like my set of instructions that I bring around with me, then it's going to look like something like this. You have your agents.md, which is your top level things. And then you might have a Claude MD, but this is going to be a symlink, or really it's going to be an import. Claude is a little bit specific about it, and so they actually want you to do an agents import, which I'll show you in a second, to that agents MD, so that when Claude starts up, it's going to be like, oh, I'm here, oh, let me go read this, and then I'll come back to whatever other instructions you have. And similarly, all of our skills are directly in our agents folders, but we can have our skills symlinked into the agents version, and so that we get all of it in Claude. Now, if you want first class support, and some harnesses support things that others don't, or in formats that others don't, like for instance, Claude has commands, and a lot of harnesses don't really readily support commands directly, or at least not in the same way, then you can have these specific files set up in those harness specific folders, and that's like totally fine. I have a folder like this just so it's pretty easy when I'm using Claude Code to get my slash and kind of like search and remember all of the different skills I have. And so I think that's pretty useful for this. And this seems like annoying to have to manage all of this, but at this point with agents, you can just be like, hey, go make a new commands folder for harness whatever, and use the format that they accept, and then put all my skills in, and it'll do it in a couple minutes. So again, core agents MD, this is basically the one that is the standard at this point. So that's what we're going with. Skills across harnesses can be a little bit different, but for the most part, they've landed on this idea of there's a folder, there's a skill.md which is required, which explains what the skill is, and then gives it general information about it, and then you can have supporting artifacts in subfolders that you can do internal references to. There are some quirks with this stuff, but if you keep your skills relatively simple, relatively flat, I found they work pretty well across agents or across harnesses. And then shell examples with Claude Code. Instead of my Claude MD, I have this @agentsmd at the top, and this is basically an import. Claude is just a little specific about symlinks. They recommend doing this @agent, so that's what I did. And then for commands, I just have them in there, and then the skills just get symlinked. Do note that this is fragile, but not that fragile. Like, it's fragile on Windows, but I ran Windows for like a decade, and I never really developed in Windows, except for at work. I always did it within Whistle. And so Whistle, Linux, Mac OS, which is like most places you'll be developing, this all works great. And then, like I said, there's a long tail of places that are harnesses that use these agents by default, so you don't got to do anything special for those. So I'm pretty bullish on agentic engineering, though I'm really not convinced any of the current tools or even these models will be the ones that win. I think we're still really early in this, and I do think there's a bubble of some sort. So I think currently it pays to find approaches that will likely be useful regardless of the pending improvements, regardless of who wins, that you can kind of take with you long term, because there just is so much turmoil and change in the industry currently. Now, if you're curious about how I'm doing agentic engineering, I've been taking snapshots of my AI Dotfiles repo basically every month and then putting them in the HAMY Labs Code Examples repo, which is available to Minions members. So if you're curious, you can join today and get that. And then if you like this post, you might also like 5 AI coding best practices from a Google AI director that actually work. A lot of stuff around spec-driven development. If you're curious about that. I'd also be interested in how I actually code with AI as a senior software engineer. This was me probably at more of an L3 of the agentic scale, although I'd say I'm closer to L5 or L6 at this point. And if you're curious to see what further levels look like on that agentic scale, you can check out I built an AI orchestrator and ran it overnight. Here's what happened. And according to Steve Yegi, this is like L8, the far end, but I think we're super early. And so I think there's levels that we have not even achieved or dreamt about with these agents. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.